January 2024 by heart. I can do this. January 2024 for you, Capricorn, Ascendant, Sun, Moon, or Stellium, which is a couple of planets in Capricorn. But first of all, you're going to say hi to this charismatic looking face. Thank you. It's the most joyous thing ever. So let's just look at her. Okay. Yes. Now, um, January for you. First of all, your first house is lit. You're already having Mars in your first house. So pay attention to these sharp corners. Depending if you are day sect or night sect, you could be having more or less accidents. So you could be a little bit accident prone, okay, with Mars in your first house. But you can also be athletic. You could also return to your vitality, return to the gym, um, and kind of like work out. That can be a good time for you to revitalize yourself or cut things from your diet. It's a great time to do that. Mars is kind of like cutting things out, and Saturn is ending something. So, which is the first house, is kind of like ending bad habits to do with food, or lack of activity or stagnation that you may have had in your life. So, this is Mars. It will be in your first house for like the entire month. And then we're going to have January 14, Mercury joining in. So Mercury is right now in your 12th house wrapping up. Any hidden things to do with contracts, words, things that you might not have been aware of, information, anything like this. You could be receiving telepathic messages from dreams. You could be, um, yeah, you could be having like hidden enemies that are mercurial, that are trickery, cunning, thiefy, something like that. Or you could be revisiting the role of words and communication in your mental health. Okay. So Mercury is ruling your sixth house, which is also your physical health. You can also be understanding how your nervous system, your physical nervous system, and your physical state is affecting your mental health. And Mercury also rules your ninth house, your worldview. You could be going over any limiting beliefs you may have, or any ways in which the beliefs, the worldview that you hold is kind of restrictive for you on a mental, spiritual level. Okay, or beliefs that have caused you loss. You can be tending to that, and loss can occur because of those things. Okay, so how are you physically doing? Your pets, okay, or unfortunately can also be loss of pets, like that can happen, which of course affects our mental health, and also your worldview, your ideas. If you are enrolling in some sort of a religious institution or academic institution or a vacation, that can actually affect your mental health, beneficially or not. You just find out what's good for me, what worldview is good for me, what field of study is good for me, what environment, academic or religious environment is good for me, and what is not. Okay, stuff is revealed at the 12th house that you weren't aware of, that they even play a role in your well-being. Now, the third party that is going to ingress. Oh, first of all, Mercury is going to ingress to your first house, January 14. Mercury in your first house, it rules your health, it rules your worldview. If in the 12th house things were being revealed, those hidden things were being addressed, were being affecting you, now you get to do something about it because this is your first house. So you get to change up your routine, to cut some certain food, to cut certain words out of your lexicon. It's going to be co-present with Mars. Okay, stop using certain words that you may have been using that have not been affecting your health so well. You might be
it's the sixth house. You might be taking on a new job, or ending a job, or you might be um, mm, 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 or you might be taking a new pet as well. Okay, with this one. And notice that pets and traveling is related. So you want to be considering that, because if you're taking on a new pet, it's not unlikely that you're going to be starting something new in your ninth house as well. So you might be, for example, you might be one of the students that are like, oh, I just got a degree, and then you begin school, and then there are these, service dogs that you decide to adopt a service dog. Okay, so your academic studies and your pets are involved. This is a good beginning for you. It's actually good. Mercury has been in your first house. So in the last month and a half, I want you to think about what has been happening. Okay, because you're going to be revisiting this, and I feel like it's good news for you. Granted, it's not an enemy or something like that. It's good news for you because some new health. It's like for your health, you're going to take a vacation. For your health, you're going to join some, I don't know, academic course. For your health, maybe you're going to take a spiritual journey. Okay. Yes, Mercury can have to do with drugs as well. So you might be taking a little bit of psychedelics and having, I don't know, like a shamanic experience or something like this for your physical health. And it's affecting your mental health as well. Or if you've been thinking to adopt a pet, you're going to be doing this, and you're going to either be traveling with this pet, or you're going to be, your worldview is going to be changing as the experience of maybe when you walk your dog or your bird. Okay, mercurial, that is going to affect your life. Again, just think about how the sixth house and the ninth house are connected with you and with your life path, because this is touching not just on your physical body, but on you and what you came to do in this world. It's not life mission, but life path. Okay, life mission is more like your legacy. Life path is something more intimate. It's the path that you walk internally, like with yourself. It's your journey in the world, that may or may not be seen by others. So this is a good time. It's actually a good time. Okay, if there are health issues, you're going to be addressing them. If there are enemies at work, colleagues at work, you're going to be setting boundaries, because Mars is in your first house. Okay, and what does Mars rule? Mars rule your career house, your 10th house, and Mars rule your fourth house. So it's kind of like the insights from both of your parents is going to help you set a very clear boundary when it comes to your autonomy, to your physical autonomy, to your physical well-being. Okay, what you wouldn't tolerate. Um, yeah, this is, you're not one to mess with narcissistic soldier in Capricorn, but if it's one of your elders, they're gonna be having they trying to be having that can be in conflict with you. Um, In which case, you just need to adopt that Mars. You need to connect with your Mars. Think about where your Mars is. Mars, everything your birth is social. So if it is your boss or your parents, um, they have they have a lot of power and stamina. Hopefully, it's not like negative things, but they can enforce some sort of discipline on you or restriction on you. Um, that in the deepest connected to your growth, but it's going to be difficult to argue with them. However, it is like you're also thinking about how your father handled that, how your mother handled that, how your father and mother said this issue, and then you're not using these different actions inspired by your parents, related with intentions and beliefs in terms of your reputation, or in terms of like your boss or your boss, even your parents even. And then January 23rd, before Pluto ingress out against the Pluto separately, January 23rd, Venus is going to ingress into your 12th house. So Venus is now in your 12th house. Okay? 12th house can be the house of super security. But it's not going to stay in the 12th forever. This is going to ingress into your first house. And so Venus, you could be having
Yeah, oh, Scorpio, sorry. So Scorpio is your 11th house, not your 10th house. 11th and 4th. Yeah. And that means more like your, it's not like your boss, but more like your goals and dreams, your visions and aspirations, but also your colleagues and associates, the type of colleagues you meet at a networking event, at a conference, and stuff like that, or social media, but not social media, not like your closest friends. That is the third. So allies and enemies. Um, Now we go to Venus. Venus is now in your 12th house up until January 24th. And this Venus, it rules your 10th house and it rules your 6th house. So if you are, let's say, working with your child, or your boss is your child in some way, or you are the boss of your child in your working relationship, now the 12th house more like the mental. So how is this affecting mental? How is this affecting mental in these situations that are to do with um, your children or your affairs, which is part of also like women, okay? And 6 and 12 means secret romances, something secretive about this, um, and depending on the information, that might affect you in a specific life. So that's secret. And at the same time, things to be explosive, so hopefully not like one particularly have an affair with boss and you have an affair with them, or a secret affair, because that is going to be affecting you as Venus ingresses. It's going to be affecting you now, but first it's going to be affecting you as Venus ingresses in the first house. Okay? Venus in the first. Venus is the house of pleasure, physical pleasure. She's the house of the voice. She's the house of artistic. And Venus is particularly deep painting, beautiful singing somehow. Venus is in the first house. And you might even do it for career, because the ruler of the fifth is the ruler of the 10th. Venus is what you do for fun, what you do, your legacy, or at least your career. Okay, and this is very important, because if it's not, then you are stupid. Okay, that's just what you're seeing right now with Venus in your 12th. And think about it when the December first happens. Remember, maybe your lover is going to sit with you in the bedroom and tell you, please, when you are not doing what you're supposed to be doing in life, you're impossible to live with. Okay, and what you're supposed to be doing in life is supposed to be fun for you. And this is why I have Uranus, which is about Uranus in your sixth house again. And now, this first on December is just telling me anything right now. As Venus is going into your first house, now you can begin to take action. Action next week. Because it's going to be full presence of Mars and Mercury. Okay? So you begin to take action, then next week you begin to actually think. You begin to actually think. You begin to actually um, get yourself insane. Okay? Um, you beginning to enjoy your job, even if the 10th house is Libra, somehow materialistic or accounting, feeling like even that, you begin to see where is the creative side about you. How do I influence my work and my fun? Because it's supposed to be. Okay, now you begin to do that. And now you do that. That is also pleasure. Okay, this is otherwise physical affair with concern, secret affair, or romance. Venus is strong also with feelings like okay, feelings romantic. Venus is house of work. Venus in Saturn is also creative to do, or it's just simple days like you have like a lot of sales, or you're trying to look like an monogamous, not monogamous, and stuff like that, which can also be an issue. Same six house, the same situation. Um, and there's your partner might tell you, but do you remember when we tried to open our relationship and da, 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 do you remember what brought us to the opening of this relationship? Or do you remember why we started to do this creative thing with this relationship to begin? You remember what did you experience when you were not doing what you were meant to be doing? Okay, so it can range anywhere from that. So this is sort of reality check. It tells you, do you remember when it's going to be about something that you do in this January, and it's going to have to do with having a relationship with a physical partnership, or resolving, letting go of baggage, or resolving trauma, or addressing trauma, or maybe some sort of a therapy or something like this. Um, and what you begin right now is going to be echoing, because you're not just going to go direct, but you're going to have this, you begin this time span of remembering this moment of the decision to begin that. And the decision to begin that, kind of like when you think of quitting, think of why you started. Because if you're letting go of some sort of an addiction, it's possible to be addicted. Think about the future. You could be letting go of the future right now. Okay? And then kind of like your partner or on to
Hello. Yeah, I made you tired. So somebody is going to kind of like remind you of your resolution, which is not a bad thing. But it can also be your accountant or somebody to do with like reminding you of taxation or something like that. So the last donation is to January 25, and this is in Leo and Aquarius. So your 8th and 2nd house with the moon in your 8th house. This is happening already after Pluto ingressed to your 2nd house. Okay. And that means that you are culminating something to do with death, or ancestral stuff, or just sharing energy with significant other. It's kind of like a marital partner or something like this, because the ruler of the sun is going to be basically the new moon, the full moon. Something is revealed about your partner that brings in an issue that you were swiping under the rug. This issue very likely to be financial, because you're dealing with how I make my money and how I invest my money, and how do I make money with the money that I have. Now, in the background, we're going to have echoing banks falling apart. So you kind of get the gist of it. And it's going to be in a T square with, kind of like your lover or your child telling you, you must do something creative that you do for fun. All the while, the world is screaming out for you to just work in any job. And this is where your partner might remind you that, do you remember what happened when you were working in any job? Okay. Um, do you remember how that ended up for you? And so on and so forth. Uh, and again, I'm not saying that like, you don't want to do anything like from survivalistic point of view temporarily, but you don't want to be abandoning the eternal evergreen truth that the ruler of your 5th house is the ruler of your 10th house. And the ruler of your 6th house is the ruler of your 9th house. Okay, so what you do for a job, a service, has to both enhance your worldview and be in alignment with your philosophy, or else you're going to be very sick physically. It's going to show up on your skin, on your hearing impairments, on your communication skills, on your nervous system. Mercury, Gemini, on your wrists. Oh my God, I remembered Mark Brzezinski had a very important insight about rheumatism, which might be relevant for you because it's an inflammation-based disease. And rheumatism is basically uh, inflamed like wrists and so on. And what he said, the answer to this is creative endeavor. You might get such thing, and then your solution would be that you're not needing to take in steroids or something like that, but to paint, to write, to create with your hands. Okay, this is what happens to you if you just only think to neglect making your creative endeavors and intellectual property a career. Okay, you're gonna go cuckoo. You're gonna have inflammation. You're going to be attracting the wrong sexual partners. Fifth house. You're gonna have bad relations with your child. Okay, this is true. Your fertility is going to be impaired. Okay, and your relationship with one of your parents are going to be bad, or with you as a parent. Okay, or your boss. The relationship with your boss is going to be annoying, or your boss is going to try and have an affair with you. It's like these are all the things. Like this is the stick, okay, and but it's going to be difficult to see where is the carrot, because with the 25th lunation in the background, banks are falling apart. It's like, you know what? If you haven't been doing your 401k well, or if you haven't had a good investment portfolio, you might have a sight of relief because you don't have all your ships tanking because you don't have ships. Okay, that might be your story. Okay, but how are you going to pay in the grocery? Oh, remember what happens when you try to get a jobby job. And it can happen. You try to just take a jobby job, and then you suddenly can't show up to work because you have inflamed like knuckles, and it's just like I had this in McDonald's. Yeah, I was working for McDonald's. I was taking this raw cotton thingy. There's just one of my bosses was trying this and he was telling me this is so great, and he was a model. And this is so great. You have to try it. I tried it. I don't know if a part of my neurodivergence is not like with contribution to that. But it was so much so that there was the chips, kind of like the potatoes, that I had to pull from the oil. I couldn't freaking hold the damn thing when I was saying I had to get rid of the orangutan. Okay, but for you, you might have to get rid of the job because you won't be physically able to hold something until you're holding a paintbrush and beginning to paint. Until you're you won't be able to do anything with your fingers until you start playing a piano or a musical instrument, or until you start writing. You should only do that. Okay, this is you. This is you. And I know you're ruled by Saturn. You might not understand. It's like, but it's the world. This is the world's called harsh reality, that you are meant to do something creative for a living, even when all the banks are falling apart. Scary, especially if you have a family and children. Um, so, yes, I think I said everything. And the good news for you is that you need to be creative, and it means that the answers to your questions is start writing, start painting, start creating. It's going to improve upon your relations, even if it's creating conflicts. It's going to improve upon your relations more so than not doing that.